Bhavna and Katya for inviting me to this conference. I'm really happy to be here because I think conversations about engaging and engaging ethically with indigenous practices are much needed. Sorry. In examining the categorizations of how we think about the indigenous, folk, and tribal within contemporary art discourse. We find ourselves confronting a profound contradiction regarding the representation of indigenous communities and their practices. Adivasi cultures are frequently imagined through the lens of otherness and portrayed as isolated from civilization or society. These imaginings ensure, in a way, the marginalization of these communities who must constantly engage with authorities with changing realities, displacements, and disenfranchisements. Paradoxically, when it comes to articulating national or state identity, these very cultures and their rich aesthetic traditions are in a way used as sources of national identity and pride. This contradiction also creates a dynamic where Adivasi communities are sometimes compelled to employ their cultural forms as a means to assert their identities, to gain recognition and legitimacy within dominant society systems. So it's a form of a cultural double bind that requires further deliberation. And so how might we really move beyond these limiting frameworks towards a more ethical and meaningful engagement, and like Katya said, to think with communities. For me, working at the Jahangir Nicholson Art Foundation, which forms the modern and contemporary art wing of the CSMBS Museum in Mumbai, these questions come up constantly in curatorial practice, in thinking or rethinking ethnography, in how we sort of tell civilizational stories within the museum, or how the notion of the indigenous is theorized in Indian art since independence. A recent project that we showed at the museum was called A Forest in the City, and it was really a collaboration with several individuals and communities. It brought together many often competing forms of representation of this area, which is the Sanjay Gandhi National Park in Mumbai, by all its sort of stakeholders, which included communities, Warli and other communities living in the forested parts of Mumbai, also NGOs, activists, architects, environmentalists, and even state agencies, forest and other departments. So in a way, this invitation to moderate this session was very welcome for me because it provided an opportunity to really look closely into the project, collaborative project by Gauri Gill and Rajesh Vangar, and also to explore the dynamics of these kind of collaborations, in this case between two artists who come from very distinct, different social, cultural, and geographical backgrounds with aesthetic expressions which are rooted in very different sensibilities. Gauri from the contemporary photography practice, and Rajesh from the living traditions of the Warli community. So through this conversation, we will have the opportunity to explore how ideas of the other, of agency, authorship, and aesthetics manifest in their collaborative work called Fields of Sight. This remarkable project has been ongoing, like Katya said, for 12 years and is embodied in over 70 works. I think the book is also available downstairs. So we'll really examine the different approaches in representing reality, narrative, and the dimensions of space and time, and how these are interpreted in their joint practice. This discussion we will also intersperse with visuals for people who are not familiar with the work, and also the stories behind, and stories and intentions for each artist behind the individual works. So quickly to reintroduce the artist, so I think Gauri Gill is a Delhi-based photographer. She has exhibited within India and internationally, including the V&A Museum, Louisiana Museum of Modern Art, the Venice 58th Venice Biennale, MoMA PS1, in New York, Documenta 14, and the Kochi Biennale. She has also consistently exhibited at locations outside the art world, including public libraries, rural schools, and non-profit institutions. She received the Prix Pictet Award in 2023 and the Grange Prize in 2011, among several other honors. She has recently published 2 books about her multi-year collaborations with Adivasi artists in Maharashtra, India, called Fields of Sight and Acts of Appearance, both published by the edition Patrick Frey, Zurich. Rajesh Vangar is a bearer of the Varli style of painting, as he had introduced himself earlier in the morning, an art he learned from his parents, particularly his mother, and later from such masters as Jiva Soma Mashe. His murals can be seen at the Crafts Museum in New Delhi, the Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai, and the T2 terminal at the International Airport in Mumbai. And the collaborative series Fields of Sight, which we will be delving further into, has been exhibited and collected by contemporary museums around the world, including Tate, London, Guggenheim Museum, Abu Dhabi. Vangar has published 4 books: Fields of Sight, My Gandhi Story, Kabir Samagri, and the Indian Crafts Journey, as well as a map of Maharashtra published by Dastkar Hath Samiti. So, Gauri and Rajesh ji, welcome. And this conversation will also be bilingual, and we'll try and translate wherever possible. तो राजेश जी, आपसे शुरू करते हैं। तो पहले आप अपने काम के बारे में कुछ बता सकते हैं, और ये मतलब आप जब गौरी ने आपके साथ ये काम करने के लिए प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया तो आपको कैसा लगा? थोड़ा आप अगर अपने काम के बारे में कुछ बोलें।
हेलो। हाँ, वारली पेंटिंग ये एक पारंपरिक कला है। ये हज़ारों सालों से हमारे समाज में चलते आ रहा है। तो ये कला मैंने माताजी से और पद्मश्री जीवा सोमा से इससे मतलब अनुभव और साथ में काम किया, इससे शुरुआत किया। और ये जो कला है, ये चौक जो होता है शादी के समय, उससे शुरुआत हुई। तो हमारे यहाँ जो औरतें हैं शादी के समय में आटा पीस के उसको शादी का चौक बनाता है। इसमें देव देवता और प्रकृति जो देवता है वो बनाते हैं। और इसके बाद शादी हो जाता है। हम चौक में सब देवताओं को आमंत्रित करते हैं और आमंत्रित करके फिर शादी बनाते हैं। तो ये हमारा एक परंपरा हज़ारों सालों से है। तो चौक में जो मतलब हम लोग लाइन या भगवान दिखाता है, इसका अलग अलग कहानी हम लोग फिर बनानी चालू किया। जैसे कि नारायण देव है, हिमाय है, कंसरी है, धरतरी है, गावतरी है। तो ये प्रकृति के साथ हमारा जनजीवन कैसा था और कैसे चल रहा है, और हम लोग प्रकृति को कैसे संभाल रहे हैं, और मतलब सब जनजीवन है, जैसे कीड़े हैं, पेड़ पौधे हैं। हम इससे बहुत मतलब हमारे बहुत मिलता जुलता नाता है, और हम लोग उसको पूजा करते हैं। और इसकी पूजा करने के बाद हमारा खेती का मतलब आगे काम बढ़ जाता है। तो इस तरह का हमारा ये पारंपरिक कला से शुरुआत किया।
Gauri, do you want to speak about what drew you to working with Rajesh ji, and how your this first encounter evolved into this long-term collaboration?
Thank you, Pooja, and also for your lovely introduction. And thank you to Take, thank you Bhavna, thank you Arthashila, thank you Katya. We've been working 12 years and never attended a conference like this in India. And while it has, of course, its limitations, the primary of which is language, because sadly, very aware that there are people here, we inhabit this world of English or Hindi, both hegemonic. So, but still trying to have a conversation across these barriers, is something. I'm going to take the liberty to read out a little introduction from the book, because for us this is also, we have a book that we made in 2023, and that has just been launched. It has gone into second edition, and we decided for the second edition, let's do something radically different. Why does the second edition have to imitate the first one? So it's going to be really small, cheaper, and just easier to carry, a sort of pocket book size version of this. We were hoping to try and get it from Bombay in time for this, but it's stuck at customs in Bombay because of the rain. And so I have some of my copies of Fields of Sight at a special price outside. But just to introduce you to the project, in early 2013, I spent some weeks in Ganjar, an Adivasi village in the Dahanu township of coastal Maharashtra in the west of India. I had been invited by an NGO organizing a festival of the arts to live in the home of an artist of the Varli tribe, Rajesh Chaitya Vangar, who was also participating in the festival. I was to create a photo studio followed by an exhibition at the local primary school. And they had seen my work from Rajasthan, particularly Balika Mela, this book which was about young rural women in Rajasthan. And so I think they had invited me. Rajesh was making a mural in the school, and it was actually in his village he was helping to organize. I was living in his brother's house. In the course of my time living in Ganjar and working on the school project, I began to appreciate the landscape only some hours away from Mumbai. It was nonetheless completely distinct. We were living within nature, which chameleon-like had so many faces, changing even as I took a turn. There was no electricity for hours or nights on end, and my Airtel phone only worked when I climbed a little hill. Undistracted, my awareness was sharpened. I wished to try to record the landscape, but my images felt distant, opaque even. Perhaps the beauty obscured the reality of the place, or perhaps I simply did not know it well enough. In conversations with Rajeshji, whose family has lived in the same hamlet, Vangar Pada, for generations, working as artists, we began to discuss his village. All places look entirely different to different eyes. I was made acutely aware once again of how a place is assigned meaning only by its viewer, determined perhaps by her relative distance from or proximity to it, and of how viewing itself is an essentially solitary act. What we see is only a projection of what we know, have already seen, or experienced. As someone wise once said, to the Brahmin's eye, the pond is full of beautiful lotuses to admire. To the Adivasi fisherwoman, it's the home of fish and other living creatures, the very source of sustenance. Tentatively, I decided to photograph places significant to Rajeshji, often with him present in the frame. He would take me to these special places, and I would decide where and how to construct the image, what to include, how to work with or against the light, how best to frame him within the landscape, and so on. It was a set of pictures about his place, a map determined by Rajeshji and formally constructed by me, photographer as cartographer. When I looked at my contact sheets later, I realized that so much of the narrative that I had received from Rajeshji, the great stories which had made it all come alive for me, was missing. Because I was living in his brother's house, we were having, every mealtime we were together, we were spending a lot of time, and he was explaining and telling me about this place and their life. Part of it I realized was the limitation and perhaps the unique quality of photography, which brings our attention via the image to the immediacy of the present moment, but which also thereby erases all that came before. How could my photographs convey what happened in those months in the 1970s when the violent mobs of a powerful political party raided the village and the locals fled and fell upon each other in terror? or the particular full moon night in October when a great forest on one hill comes alive and all the people who spend that night in the forest see shining eyes glittering all around them, as even the most dangerous creatures are known to turn benign when everything reflects the glow of the special aura of the moon. Or the stories of great overlords who come calling in secret at the homes of innocent, hospitable men, bringing gifts and drink and returning with deeds of land. Or the mythical tales that encompass everything that has been or is yet to be. I had an idea. We would extend our collaboration to make it more explicit. Rajesh would inscribe his drawing over my photographs, meet my visual text with his own graphic response. As Varli art is monochromatic, and in order to make the encounter intense and precise, we decided to restrict our work to a black and white palette. Initially autobiographical, over time the work has grown to become more abstract and to encompass larger themes. This commingled work may be seen as an encounter between two artists of about the same age, using entirely different languages, one with ancient antecedents, the other with more recent origins, and the histories, politics, and worldviews embedded within the expression of both of those forms. Rajeshi's language, constructed with stick and brush, unfolds entirely from an encyclopedia of forms in his mind, and he is fearless. You know, I'm always in awe of his ability to draw and, you know, to summon anything. Like it's in his head, and he is able to fearlessly just draw it on the surface. He draws on the photograph. We've never had to repeat. We don't do tests, or it's the original, like he just goes for it. Encyclopedia of forms which emerge to reflect the world, memory and myth, wind, disease, apocalypse, everything is summoned forth at will. In my own language, constructed by camera and negative, the world itself is the encyclopedia. And I recognize and edit existing structures to reflect what arises in my mind. The final work contains parallel projections of place, using perspective, negative and positive space, tonal values and relative dimensions. It merges fields of sight and perception. If you stand here, you might see it this way, move to one side just a little and another world unfolds. Or as someone put it to me, it's as though you were photographing an old home and the resident of the house came out and began to speak.
Thank you, Gauri. That was really in-depth introduction to the works. I'll come back now to Rajesh ji. राजेश जी, अभी गौरी यही बता रहे थे आपके कोलैबोरेशन के बारे में कि उनके फ़ोटोग्राफ्स और आपके ड्राइंग साथ में उन्हें कैसे इसके बारे में सोचा. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि ये जो आप ड्राइंग करते हो, जो से यूजली आपने बोला या तो दीवार या फिर पेपर पे भी पहले किया है काम, तो फ़ोटोग्राफ के सरफेस पे काम करना कैसे, मतलब उसका एहसास कैसे अलग है और क्या चैलेंजेस थे कि आपको कैसा लगा उस पे काम करना?
तो हम लोग पहले दीवार और कपड़े पे करते थे या साड़ी दुपट्टा करते थे. तो हम लोग मतलब दीवार पे थोड़ा दिक्कत आते हैं. जो स्टिक से करना है तो कलर एकदम नीचे आता है, और थोड़ा ऊपर लेता है तो नीचे आता है, और एकदम तुरंत मतलब पेंटिंग बिगड़ जाता है. तो हम लोगों ने जब फोटोग्राफर के मतलब पेंटिंग किया तो हम लोग पहले टेस्ट के बहुत सारे कलर यूज़ करके हमने देखा, और इसके वजह से हम लोगों ने मतलब 6-7 महीने इसमें हमारे चले गए कि हमें मालूम नहीं था कि ये कैसा दिखेगा और क्या बन जाएगा. मुझे स्टोरी मालूम था, पर जो बनाने का तरीका था वो कहाँ से स्टार्ट करना और कहाँ से ख़त्म करना वो थोड़ा मेरे लिए मतलब थोड़ा कठिन था. पर हम लोग जैसे गौरी जी और हम बात करते करते वो हम लोग मतलब एक लास्ट स्टेज पे जैसे आ गया कि हम ये बना सके, और वहीं से हमारा कहानी शुरुआत हो गई और अभी तक बना रहे. और अच्छा लग रहा है कि मतलब दीवार से इसके ऊपर थोड़ा हम लोग दीवार के थोड़ा कलर आता है, पर इसके ऊपर थोड़ा स्टिक से एकदम डायरेक्ट करता है. मैं पेंसिल से नहीं करता हूँ और डायरेक्ट शुरुआत ही करता हूँ. तो ये मेरे लिए बहुत मतलब जिम्मेदारी की, और इसमें मेरा मतलब एक नज़रिया होता है वो बहुत कंट्रोल करके करना पड़ता है. तो ये मेरे लिए बहुत चुनौती थी, और अच्छी बात है कि हम डायरेक्ट कर रहे हैं. हाँ, मेरा एक कहानी है कि इस धरती के ऊपर 4 शिकारी है, मतलब 4 दिशाओं के 4 शिकारी है। तो ये शिकार करते करते मतलब बहुत अंदर जाता है जंगल में, तो उसको कुछ नहीं मिलता है। जैसे पहला शिकारी पूर्व पूर्व से आता है, वो निकल जाता है, धीरे धीरे वो जाते तो कुछ शिकारी नहीं मिलता है। इसके बाद दूसरा शिकारी वो भी जाता है, तो जब वो नदी के किनारे पानी पीने जाते हैं तो शिकारी को लगता है कि ये भी कुछ शिकारी है। तो फिर उन्होंने उससे बात की है कि आप कौन है, तो मैं बोली शिकारी हूँ। तो आपको क्या मतलब लगा कि कुछ शिकार मिला? तो नहीं। फिर दोनों ने तय किया कि हम आगे जाएंगे और कुछ शिकार करेंगे। तो ऐसे करते करते 4 शिकारी इकट्ठा मतलब मिलते हैं 4 दिशा के, और वो भी मतलब शिकारी के बारे में सोचते हैं कि हमें तो कुछ मिल नहीं रहा, हम अटल शिकारी है और जंगल में बहुत घने जंगल में आके पहुंचा है। तो अभी उसको लगा कि महीना हो गया, मतलब बहुत उसका जो धान था इसके साथ वो ख़त्म हो गया। तो उन्होंने सोचा कि हमें कहीं नदी के किनारे पे जाके अभी सोएंगे। तो उसको एक छोटी सी झोपड़ी दिखी और वहीं पे एक साधु था। इससे जाके बात किया कि हम बहुत दूर से आए हैं, हमें शिकारी कुछ नहीं मिला है, तो हम आपको ये मतलब झोपड़ी में ठहर सकते हैं क्या? तो बोले हाँ, आप ठहरिए। तो वो आराम से फिर ठहरे, उसको खाना दे दिया गुरु ने और वो सो गए। तो सुबह उठ के वो अपना अपना काम के लिए मतलब सुबह बाहर जाते। तो पहला जो शिकारी गया पूर्व वाला, उन्होंने देखा कि सुबह सुबह गाय ने बच्चे को जन्म दिया और वापस खाया बच्चे को। तो चुपचाप से तुरंत मतलब झोपड़ी में आके घबरा के बैठ गया कि ये क्या दृश्य मैंने आज देखा सुबह सुबह। तो दुखी हो गया। तो दूसरा भी गया, तो उन्होंने भी दूसरा देखा कि एक बहुत बड़ा हाथी था और मकड़ी के जाल में फंस गया। तो इसके लिए वो भी बहुत डर गया कि हाथी इतना बड़ा है और मकड़ी का मतलब जाला तो बहुत छोटा है, तो इसमें क्या दिक्कत है, मतलब ये क्या सीन है। तो वो भी डर के फिर वापस झोपड़ी में आ गया। तो ऐसे मतलब करते करते तीसरा भी गया। तो तीसरे ने ये देखा कि एक बड़ा पहाड़ था और जब सूरज निकला तो वो पूरा पिघल गया और धरती मतलब जैसे कांपने लगी और बाढ़ आ गया। तो उन्होंने ये सीन देखा। और चौथे ने भी ऐसा देखा कि बहुत बड़ा पहाड़ है और वो मतलब जैसे बहुत बारिश आ गया, आग लग गई, भूकंप जैसे हो गया। तो उसके धरती के ऊपर जितने भी देवता है उन्होंने सब ने मतलब प्रयास किया कि हम लोग उसको रोके, पर किसी को मतलब रोकने नहीं दिया कि ये कैसे रोके। तो एक भगवान ने सत्य मतलब उसका नाम भगवान का, उन्होंने सुई जैसा टोक के ऊपर फेंका और वो धरती के कंट्रोल किया। तो फिर ये चारों शिकारी सुबह आके बात करने लगे कि आपने क्या देखा, वो बोला आपने क्या देखा। ऐसे करते करते उन्होंने सोचा कि तब ये बात उसको गुरु को मतलब साधु को बताया कि ये क्या है। तब साधु ने बताया कि जो पहला सीन देखा है ना, तो वो एक भविष्य में, आने वाले भविष्य में ऐसा है कि किसी के ऊपर भरोसा मत रखो, ये ऐसे ही दुनिया में चलता रहेगा। और दूसरे ने देखा कि हाथी मकड़ी के जाल में फंस गया तो कैसा है, तो वो भी बताया कि वो तो एक मतलब भविष्य में हम कितने भी शक्तिशाली होंगे भी फिर भी एक मतलब कहीं छोटे से जाल में फंसेंगे तो निकलने में बहुत मुश्किल होगा, ये हमारे जीवन में आगे ऐसा ही रहेगा। और तीसरे में ऐसा है कि जो हमारा बहुत बड़ा पहाड़ है तो वो धरती के ऊपर पिघल जाएगा तो पूरी दुनिया मतलब नष्ट हो जाएगी। और जैसे क्या बोलते हैं एक मतलब पूरा धरती नष्ट हो जाएगा और जनजीवन खत्म हो जाएगा। तो ये बताया साधु ने। और चौथे को बताया कि ये धरती जो है भविष्य में ऐसा है, भूकंप, वारा और धूप और ये आग लगती जा रहेंगी और ये हमारे भविष्य के मतलब मानव के लिए बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है। इसीलिए हम प्रकृति को हम लोग मतलब बहुत मानते हैं और पेड़ जंतु को पूजा करते हैं। ये मेरा कहानी है।
Thank you. I mean, as you heard, I think in the Warli tradition also or it's a very wonderfully rich narrative kind of practice, and a lot of the stories are sort of orally passed down. And I think what the stories also contain are not only ancestral knowledges, but this kind of code of coexistence, living with nature. Also other things, I think the changes in their realities that I feel like none of these communities live in a sort of pure space or the way that they are usually imagined in sort of a colonial lens, or pure landscapes and that kind of thing. So I feel like in this Warli tradition, there are many artists who've also, including Rajesh ji from the works that I saw Fields Inside. तो राजेश जी मैं ये पूछना चाह रही थी कि आज के समय की कौन सी, मतलब आपने जो बदलाव देखे हैं आपके काम में भी आते हैं आप कोई और, जैसे वो फैक्ट्री और रिवर का स्टोरी था, आई डोंट नो इफ वी कैन ब्रिंग दैट अप ऑन द स्क्रीन, इज इट?
तो मैं 12 साल का था तभी से
उसके बारे में थोड़ा बता सकते हैं, वो कहानी भी बता सकते हैं?
This was the first work that we made.
तो मैं ये कंपनी में, मतलब हमारे यहाँ कंपनी है, दारू की कंपनी बहुत बड़ी है, तो इसमें सिविल का काम मैं करने जाता था और पेंटिंग भी करता था। तो मतलब जब कंपनी पूरा हो गया फिर मैं वहीं पे ऑपरेटिंग का काम करता था और जैसे मेंटेनेंस का काम करता था, बॉयलर में, कूलिंग टॉवर में। तो ये काम करते करते इसमें बहुत सारा केमिकल जो होता था वो मतलब बाहर फेंक देते थे कंपनी, और पाइप से लेके बाहर जाता था। तो जब हम प्लांट में काम करते थे, ईटीपी प्लांट में, तो बहुत सारा जो मतलब वेस्टेज पानी है वो बाहर जाके गाय बैल और जो जानवर है, बहुत सारे कीड़े हैं, मछलियां हैं, वो मर जाते थे। तो ये सब मैंने आँखों से देखा है। और मैं जब ये कंपनी में काम करता था और बाद में पेंटिंग करने जैसे मुंबई, पुणे, दिल्ली में आता था, तो इसके बाद मैं छुट्टी लेके फिर वापस काम मतलब पेंटिंग करके वापस कहीं चला जाता था। तो ऐसे करते करते मुझे ये अनुभव आ गया कि हम लोग कंपनी में काम करते ही मतलब ये अनुभव मैंने खुद आंखों से देखा, और हमारे जो गाय बैल है वो मरने लगे। तब ये एक ग्राम पंचायत ने हमारे यहाँ उसको ऊपर मतलब इंक्वायरी ले लिया और उसको बंद किया, और अभी वो पानी मतलब कहीं सूखी जगह पे अभी इकट्ठा करके छोड़ देते हैं। तो ये एक मैंने आंखों देखा है। और दूसरी है कि वहीं पे जो पूरा मतलब पेड़ पौधे हैं वो मर गए हैं, और अभी जो चीकू का, आम का है खेती है, और ये भी मतलब बहुत कम आने लगे हैं। और जैसे कि हम उस जगह पे जो हमारा हवा है वो बहुत दूषित हो रहा है, तो हमारे जीवन के लिए ये बहुत घातक है भविष्य के लिए। तो हम लोगों ने मैंने ये मतलब आँखों से अनुभव और देखा, तो ये इस पेंटिंग में यही दिखा है मैंने।
Thank you.
And just, yeah, since this was the first work we made, and as an example, when I was discussing Rajesh's life with him, and he said we must go to this company where I worked, and as he was describing, he had a long experience with the company, and it radically changed the space for the whole village, this particular company. We couldn't even enter it. So we had to find a way. We went from the back. I don't know, you can't see actually the image, but anyway, we have gone behind, there's a river, and then we sat behind and had to photograph, the factory in the distance. And again, speaking of language and the limitations of photography, the photograph cannot show the effluents entering the river. ना फोटो द्वारा तो हम नहीं दिखा सकते थे क्या केमिकल उस पानी में, but with Rajesh's drawing, he can show it. So to me, this, it was a really critical point, and where I felt my photographs entirely lacking. Because of course, while the photograph has this currency and of being of this moment, this relatability, this accessibility, it cannot describe what people have lived and experienced, in their own, embodied that experience. So I just,
Yeah, thank you. So Gauri, you'd also mentioned, and now also that you mentioned that the photograph sort of felt incomplete and static, opaque. And with Rajesh ji's stories, that's how this collaborative work was able to speak a lot more about the landscape or the changes, or in a way it's also like a biography of Rajesh ji that you were kind of putting uh, together. And so I wanted to know how did his narratives change the way that you composed in a way your images? Was it like you photographed differently? And I mean, this is a three-part question. And second, given photography's association with this outsider gaze, sometimes a colonial gaze, how do you navigate that tension in the act of documenting others? And in many of your projects, actually, you have engaged very closely with rural communities. And has this collaboration changed the way that you approach both photography and the idea of authorship?
That's a lot of
Yeah,
questions.
so we can do it in parts.
So I would say, speaking to the first part was how it's changed or how we constructed the photograph, right? So I think for me, a lot of my practice is micro moments, and those micro moments may add up to something or not. But it's organic. It's not. I'm not thinking in advance that this is going to be this, and I would really bore myself, and I don't even know in fact what. So as I said, this began in a very organic way. I was there for an exhibition. I was living in Rajesh's house, and then and then in a step by step, because I was taking these pictures of this landscape, which I thought was very beautiful, but I realized when I looked at the contact sheets that this whole, the actual blood and guts and the subconscious, everything that mattered in a sense was, this was only the skin, right? So I didn't know how to address that. I thought maybe I should take Rajesh to these places which are significant to him and try and construct, but again, it was just pictures of him standing here or there, right? So then I just, just thought, okay, maybe he can draw on it. Maybe the photograph, because speaking, I think, to your second or third question, I just collapsed them, but yes, having worked in rural India, since '99, I have always felt the necessity to speak, but to also have to find, I'm aware of how vexed it is, and how complicated this whole relationship is of photography, particularly, with coloniality or with, as Katya was, but with its whole history, right? But to me, that has never meant the possibility of walking away. To me, it has meant how do we then address it? And it is constantly problematic. It is, I have to interrogate myself. I have to, continually come up with ways of, addressing it. A lot of it is in conversation with the people I am with. So I would like to, sometimes when I have those kinds of questions, I would like to ask Rajeshi, or I would like to ask Ismat, my friend in Barmer, or I would like to ask my friends amongst whom I am, right? Not so much an academic audience, or so in this case it became like this, right? Because we had a problem, and it was like, how do we solve, or how do we think about addressing this? So then Rajeshi and me, in talking, in conversation, it takes time, and then we said, suppose you draw on the image, right? But then to working out, because I had always, in a sense, as a photographer, certainly been singing, while collaborating in different ways with the people I work with, but in this way, as an artist, I was singular. So we had to then co-construct the images, So actually listening, and I'd say for my practice, listening is fundamental, Listening is a device also to allow, because I'm interested in power, I'm interested in who is in the outside of that circle who can never inhabit? And how can we use this as a device, photography as a device for listening? So so it's as much Rajeshji and often people again who are not used to the discursive. We're speaking of bilinguality, or multiple, but I already feel I'm talking too much. And frankly, when I met Jivyaji, I was so struck by how he didn't speak, how little he spoke, and how he smiled and he was working. And I think he didn't speak till he was 6 years old. है ना राजेश जी जीव्या जी कितनी कम बात करते थे and sometimes with Rajesh ji will be sitting and I will have a lot of like restless and discursive thinking, and he will be able to be just sitting there for half an hour or to say 3 things, and then I'm thinking how can I listen better to what he's saying, because or sometimes it's in another way as through the story he told, or so we had to figure out how to co-construct the images, where should we go, how should we actually frame it, everything was discussed. Where should he stand, what is the story we are trying to tell, based on that even, how much sky do we need, or how much land. I had never thought in these terms.
Was that also guided by the space for actually embedding the stories that Rajesh ji would then draw?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So because we are co-authors, right? We are absolute, equal co-authors. So it was, the idea partly was, can the photograph become a stage for him to speak, right? Can it become like a kind of, just, a space? And so how do we construct that? And of course, he is absolutely the key aspect of that, right? And then even printing, as he was saying, what kind of paper, then because we were testing, he normally works with bamboo, sometimes with brush, then what kind of, paint. He had never worked in tones, neither of us, so I also thought maybe it should, then color might not work, so we should, how do we make the encounter kind of equal, how do we, and then tones, multi-tones. So even formally there was a lot, and which we only worked out through doing.
So, related to that, so would you say that this is like the merging of 2 epistemological ways of making? Like, does it become a third kind of language or third aesthetics combining 2? Or how do you see these, works then?
Yeah, I think so, because I think, the so-called, I am obsessed with the documentary, or with this relationship that photography has to the so-called real, while being completely aware that it is, again, very problematic, because that is in fact what feels aside, right? What I see is just a projection of who I am, and Rajesh has an entirely different worldview, and our language is also everything. So, yes, so I think, I am very interested in this idea of the real and of the so-called truth, and of course, while not relativizing, because yes, the truth is important. There is multiple truths, so I guess the idea not, there is nothing objectively out there is one idea, like it is very much a projection. And so how do we, so as a documentarian, this question, like I sometimes wonder who of us is the greater documentarian, right? Because even I am making, as a photographer, many artistic choices, what shutter speed, what aperture, what camera. I can focus here in this room and make it look empty. I can focus there. There's a lot of lies that, or a lot of, it's not a lie, but interpretations or the subjectivity, right? And then I do feel even in Adivasi art that there has been particular tropes that Adivasi artists, will expected to either the traditional, or they are put in the box or shown only as Adivasi artists, or so that space, like, you know, I mean, for Rajesh also, I think, to be, I mean, he will answer, you know, this in his own way, but like to be inhabiting the space of the photograph, you know, and to disrupt that in a way. Because photography also has, it's either the documentary or the staged or the painted, you know, but this is not even a painted photograph, because here it's disrupting the framework, right, if you will. It's not beautifying or, but in a certain sense it is disrupting one particular narrative.
So do you want to, and राजेश जी आप भी ये सवाल था कि क्या ये दो कलाओं का मेल है, ये जो अभी नया फॉर्म आप दोनों ने साथ में किया है, कि एक तीसरी, जैसे तीसरी कला है, कैसे देखें इसको, ये जो कामों को?
ये एक हमारी तीसरी भाषा है, मतलब जो हम लोग भविष्य में बहुत सारे जो आज धरती पे घटना हो रहे हैं, जैसे भूकंप या कुछ किसान का मोर्चा है, जैसे हमारे यहाँ जो ज़मीन का है अभी भी चालू है, तो इस तरह का जो एक मतलब जंगल तोड़ हो रहा है, उत्खनन हो रहा है, और वहीं पे सब बिल्डिंग्स और ये सब जैसे मानव के लिए नहीं, पूरा मतलब जनजीवन के लिए इसका हानि हो रहा है। तो ये एक हम लोग इसके मतलब ये भाषा है, वो भाषा के थ्रू हम मैसेज दे रहे हैं भविष्य में कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं करना चाहिए। हम लोग मतलब जैसे विज्ञान को या डेवलपिंग को हम लोग मतलब क्या विरुद्ध, मतलब हम उसके ये नहीं करते, रुकवाते नहीं, पर ये हमारा जो जनजीवन है, इसके साथ प्रकृति है, उसको ख्याल रखना चाहिए, उसको मित्रता रखना चाहिए, और सब रख के हमारा भी जीवन बहुत अच्छा होना चाहिए। यही हमारा प्रयास और मैसेज है पेंटिंग का। और ये पेंटिंग मतलब एक लिखा हुआ है, भाषा है, तो ये हम दिखाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। और बहुत सारे मतलब हम लोगों ने अभी भी जैसे किसान जो आज हर मतलब दुनिया में लड़ रहे हैं, तो हमारे भी गांव में अभी भी हो रहा है, चालू है, तो ये सब हम लोग दिखा रहे हैं। तो ये हमारे लिए भी एक मतलब जैसे हम वारली में तो हम पारंपरिक पूजा और देवताओं की कहानी बताते हैं, पर इसमें ये अभी एक मैसेज दे रहे हैं।
हाँ, तो जैसे like say the farmers, you know, we can actually speak about it. You know, I might be like photographing the protests in Delhi. Rajesh, of course, they are very actively involved in, you know, so many issues which are coming up for farming, you know, and because of development, as we know, that whole area has been completely decimated, transformed. So we can try and have a conversation through our work, right? And then we can, yeah, bring two very different viewpoints together.
Okay. So, how has the reception of these works been with gallery systems or museums? Is there something you want to say about that? राजेश जी, ये गैलरीज और म्यूजियम्स में ये काम का क्या रिसेप्शन हुआ है, कुछ आप बोलना चाहेंगे?
I think when we met, one of the first questions Rajeshi also, you know, asked me was that how come this work is not in many of the contemporary art spaces, right? So, I mean, galleries, and it was in certain galleries, and of course, you know, it is wonderful, like for instance, he is with, represented by Ojas Gallery, but often again was shown in the framework of the tribal, right? So tribal art, and for it to enter really other frameworks. There were also within the gallery, like, you know, when I proposed, I mean, in the beginning we said co-authorship. So it was quite interesting because they said, well, okay, 50% we keep, and then you give your 25% to Rajesh ji, right? And actually some work sold in that way, and then after some time I approached them and said, don't you think it should be a three-way sharing, but there wasn't really a model, and I think even many of the artists, I mean, very senior artists as I understand, but they had worked, it was a little bit more sometimes in the framework of assistance or, or working with these artists, not as sort of co-authors or, you know, so we had to kind of suggest and come up with our own ways of, of sort of negotiating this. And that is still, because I think partly it's also the economics of it, right? Like frankly, authorship also doesn't mean anything unless you actually are equitably sharing. Otherwise, it's a dishonest authorship. And so I think all of those things we had to step by step work out, that how do we, given that we come from different, standpoints, how do we address, I often had to, even with big festivals in the West, or they would say, I mean, we're going to send one ticket. We can't send two, right? Or so fighting those little, I mean, little but big. And or often I'm aware in so many settings, even in the Indian art world, how it's all English, right? So sometimes I don't even know, I just feel, of course, Rajesh is there, but then sometimes I feel he's just naturally excluded because all of the socializing, everything in the contemporary Indian art world will also be in English, right? And then many of you are outside of it. So there's so many questions. Should we be going? Should this whole thing be happening in, Vangad-Pada? Should it be happening in Venkatji's, village? Should it be on their terms? Who gets to set the terms? At the same time, we are aware, again, it's about power. Who gets to set the terms? It's pretty clear. Are the institutions with the money, with the power, the West, and again, these are decisions for Adivasi artists. I do feel it's for them, for him, for every, to decide how they want to occupy, if they want to occupy those spaces, but to try and set the terms, because the terms, of course, in an unequal world are extremely unequal. And who's in the circle and who's out?
Thank you. I think, I don't know if we have time for questions, do we? So maybe we can take some questions from the audience, if there are any. There's someone at the back there.
थैंक यू। नमस्कार, बहुत सुंदर तरह आपने सब समझाया। मेरा एक ही प्रश्न है कि ये जो कला है ये धर्म से जुड़ी हुई है, आपकी जो कला है वो धर्म से, इट्स लिंक्ड विद सेक्रेड इमेजेस, imagery. So how do you relate the sacred with the secular? That's
अक्षय जी, बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ, आपने अच्छा सवाल किया हमें। तो हम लोग मतलब हमारा मैसेज ये है कि हमारा जीवन मानव का धरती के ऊपर है। जैसे हम बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं, जैसे हम लोग अभी एसी में घूमते हैं फिरते हैं, पर बाकी का भी इस धरती पे प्राणी का जीवन है, उसको भी हमारा जीवन उसके आधारित है। जैसे मधुमक्खी है, चींटी है, ये बहुत हमारे मानव के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। और वो एक एक बीज उठा के लेके घर में छुपा के रखते हैं। तो जैसे ये जो मधुमक्खी है वो भी ऐसा है कि एक जो फूल से थोड़ा थोड़ा मक्खी मतलब हम मध बोलते हैं, वो जमा करके रखते हैं। तो ये ऐसा जमा करते करते एक फूल से दूसरे फूल, तो वो एक मतलब जो प्रकृति का जो चक्र है वो चलता है, और इससे हमारा फूल फल और ये सब मिलता है, तो धान भी मिलता है। तो ये हमारे मतलब हम उसको कैसे रखें, इन जानवरों को, पंछी को, पेड़ों को और फूलों को, ये हमारे मानव के लिए बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है कि हम तो मतलब जैसे घूम रहे हैं, इसी में बैठ रहे हैं, फिर भी इसके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं। तो ये एक हमारा मैसेज है कि हम जो प्रकृति के साथ हमारा मतलब रिलेशन है, हम उसके आधारित है। इसमें हम सब देवताओं को भी मानते हैं, उसको भी मानते हैं सब, तो ये सब साथ में लेके जाता है। जैसे पानी, हवा, ज़मीन, तो हम इसको बहुत मायने रखते हैं, और ये हमारा मतलब भगवान हम मानते हैं, इसलिए पूजा करते हैं। जैसे शुरू में हम लोग आदिवासी डांस करते हैं, तो पहले धरती को पैर रखते हैं, तो उसको नमन करते हैं, और बाद में डांस करते हैं। तो इस तरह का मतलब जो ये हमारा मतलब वारली का स्टाइल है, या मतलब पूजे का ये है, पर ये सब मानव के लिए अच्छा होना चाहिए। कि जैसे मैं इस भाषा में बोल रहा हूँ, पर पेड़ पौधे तो सबके लिए एक बहुत भगवान के जैसा ही है, तो ये हमें ख्याल रखना चाहिए।
Thanks, Akshay. Yeah, I would say that, you know, in a way, one of the big things I've learned from Rajeshi, but also my belief is that photography is just a byproduct, right? And I think मुझे लगता है मतलब ये समझ बढ़ाने के लिए फोटोग्राफी मेरे लिए एक समझ और अपने अंदर से बाहर आने का तरीका है, और उसके लिए सुनना ज़रूरी है, उसके लिए ये सब you know the things we were talking about, but because for me photography is, or being human is nothing if it's not about empathy and hopefully you know transcendence. That is about getting out of, so there is a solitariness to only being in your own head, right, and only being able to ever see through these eyes and through what I, with my very limited understanding, you know, can know. So in that sense, the you know real privilege, even of understanding, like with Rajeshi, the idea of a chitra or chitra making or photography making, he lives a multi-dimensional life. तो जब हम बात करते हैं, जैसे राजेश जी तो खेती भी कर रहे हैं, पंचायत मीटिंग पे भी जा रहे हैं, पूरा परिवार घर में है, माताजी पिताजी इतने सारे पशु पक्षी साथ में रहते हैं, किचन में खोलकर ड्राइंग बना रहे हैं, और मेरा जो जीवन है फिर काफ़ी थोड़ा लिमिटेड लगता है एक तरीके से। हम प्रोफेशनल जो हैं शहर के लोग, और एक घर में और कंप्यूटर पे इतनी देर बैठे हुए हैं, एक ही चीज़ कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसी बहुत चीज़ें हैं जो मुझे सोचने को मिलती हैं कि मतलब जीने के तरीके, और तो ये तो एक मतलब ये तो दिस इज़ जस्ट अ बाय प्रोडक्ट, क्योंकि इन एनी केस फोटोग्राफी कैन नेवर ऑनर you know the actual experience. I mean that's the challenge, and that's what we are constantly. And yes, it's about power. So I like the idea that Rajesh ji will inscribe and can write out my text, right? And just go for it. And in acts of appearance, you know, people, because again, photography and, you know, anyone can walk into anywhere and take anyone's picture, and we have the idea that the face is the center, the punctum, and, you know, I can possess your face. So the people, you know, in Johar will actually take that face away and answer with a mask that they have made and chosen. You know, so what are again the strategies? I guess dealing with power, dealing with, yeah. I mean, I keep thinking about, you know, thank you for your question. And sorry, this sacred and secular very much, that is very much a question, because again, from Rajeshi I see, right, like that he will say a prayer before, or, you know, everything from the broom, the whole field is sacred, right? And that is such a, yeah, like a different, you know, and yeah, and so how do we collapse these different, again, worldviews, you know, and as he also pointed out, you know, but, and so many, when we speak of the forest, right, so much of the work, as he said, is in the nature of a warning, because everything Adivasi people are bearing the brunt of will come to all of us, if it's not already, right? And so, you know, this, it is, yeah, it's extremely, I think a lot of it is very urgent. We were hoping to read out some captions, but there's no time, but if you can, you know, sort of.
Yeah.
So I can maybe read one caption, which will. हाँ, राजेश जी, ये कैसे जैसे
अ,
देवी देवता अर्चना।
आदिवासी में तो हम लोग मतलब जैसे मैडम ने बोले कि धर्म एक हाँ, पर हम लोग ऐसे नहीं मानते कि हम आदिवासी सब मतलब सबको समान मानते हैं। हमारी पेंटिंग में ऐसा है कि ये जितना भी पेंटिंग हम किया जाता है दीवारों के ऊपर, वो सुबह के लिए होता है। तो हम मतलब हमारे आदिवासी को लिए नहीं, जितने भी धर्म के हैं, जैसे क्रिश्चियन है, हिंदू है, मुस्लिम है, कोई भी है, जैन है, तो इसके लिए हम समान मानते हैं। और सबके मतलब जो भाषा है, सोचने का तरीका है, वो एक ही तरह जाता है। तो हम लोग ऐसे मतलब किसी को ऐसे भेदभाव नहीं करते हैं। तो बहुत सारे पेंटिंग में मैंने मतलब जैसे दिखाया है कि सब धर्म को कैसे मतलब इकट्ठा रहे, और हम मानव यही एक हमारी मतलब जात है या मतलब प्राणी है, तो हम कैसे रहे और कैसे जिए। तो ये हम पेंटिंग में भी दिखाते हैं। जैसे जो अमेरिका में भी जो प्लेन का जो हादसा हुआ था, वो हम दिखाया तब मतलब किसी को वो दुख की बात है, किसी को मतलब अच्छा नहीं लगता है। फिर वो दिखाने का तरीका ये है कि ये ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए इस धरती पे, ये मानव सब हम एक ही है। तो इस तरह का हम इसमें मैसेज देते हैं।
Or just say, like, you know, many of the things befalling us are also because we are not respecting, of course, nature, and nature as embodied by, you know, the sacred. So, for instance, even in COVID, and, you know, so many times it was very interesting because Rajeshi was speaking about the bhagats, you know, or the local shamans, how they are going, they are collecting herbs. Of course, they always take permission from the forest or the land, you know, and then yes. So, yeah, so I can read just one caption. We may not be able to pull it up, but it's in the book. Worship of the great serpent who lives in the homes of ants. Among Wadis, there is a story called Ant Hill. At the time of the great deluge, the entire earth, along with all her people, was destroyed. At this time, Mahadev and his consort Ganga Gauri, an incarnation of goddess Parvati, and the ants were floating on a pumpkin and bottle gourd in the water. Later, Mahadev, Ganga Gauri, and the ants became separated. Mahadev and Ganga Gauri thought about going to the ants' home, the Mungyache Varun. They requested an audience with the king of the ants. The ant king bowed and asked, God, how and why did you reach my home? Mahadev replied that after the great deluge, no seeds were left on earth. He requested that seeds be placed in the earth again to make her as before. The ant king agreed on one condition, that the first crop that came from farming would be reserved for ants, insects, birds, animals, and other wildlife. So even today, the grain, plants, trees, fruit, and flowers that grew on earth first go to the ants, bees, insects, birds, animals, and other wildlife. Only after that are farmers able to harvest it. Among Varlis, the Bhagats or shamans believe ants to be godlike, as ants have so many virtues. They live in a united way, putting the collective before the self. They are industrious, they store food for a rainy day without any greed, and they do their own work through great power and persistence, using their mouths instead of hands or feet. For this reason, the Nag Devta or great serpent visits and lives in the home of ants. And snakes are worshipped on the day of Nag Panchami, when we pray to them for unity, strength, love, peace, and power to bear hardships and live a happy life. Without ants and bees, our life is not possible. The name of the Varli tribe itself has come from the ants and anthills, or Mungyache Varul, because Varlis also labor in the forest to carry wood and gather leaves for their fields. And the book is bilingual, and we were able to work on it in COVID because we realized that sometimes maybe people, like at Documenta, we were there together and we were explaining the works, and then we realized people maybe understanding it in a very different way. So captions are important. So Rajesh wrote in Hindi, I wrote in English, and then we tried to merge because it was getting too long. But we tried to collapse both our texts into one, but it is still bilingual. And so, so you also have some reference, and again, and we thought in the book, because they are unique works, we can't really often show them if they're sold. So in the book, we've tried to pull out details, and each work, we've tried to explain and just, it is outside and it's a special price.
Thank you both so much. Thank you, Rajesh ji, Gauri. I just want to say that was really wonderful with all the complexities, the vulnerabilities, and also in a way, this is the problem of our discipline to want to figure how these things sort of fit in. And I guess the worldviews are so sort of wide and large otherwise, and I think you put it very beautifully in the last answer also. So thank you both very much. And we can continue these conversations and questions informally later. Thank you also.